Business Development, Jim Dolson. Hi, Jim.
Hey guys, how's it going today?
It's going well.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Job openings.
Oh, boy.
How do you define a job opening, Jim?
It's a great question because I don't actually define it. It would seem like it's a Captain Obvious thing, right? Like it's an open job. Well, the government, leave it to the government, they actually have a formal definition of a job opening. So has to be open for a position that you're going to fill in 30 days. It can be a part-time, full-time, even seasonal work would be qualified. And then the other interesting aspect of that definition is it has to be something that you would fill from the outside. So like internal promotions up doesn't count in the federal government as a job opening.
30 days?
30 days. So if you plan to fill it in 30 days, it's considered a job opening.
That's interesting.
What's more interesting is how many there are in that definition. So in August, I think it was the last time they measured, like over 10 million jobs in the U.S. qualify as that job opening, definition with that definition. And I think in July it was like 11 million. So woohoo, we brought it from 11 to 10.
Jim, what industries are seeing the biggest impact of the shortage in the labor workforce?
Yeah, it's across all of them, but some of the biggies are like what we do a lot of light industrial. So we're definitely seeing that. But retail, healthcare. We were talking about restaurants. So restaurant type businesses, food services, all those are experiencing that. I went back and checked I looked at pre-pandemic job opening numbers and looked at those, and it was like 7 million job openings like in August of 2019. And here we are, 3 years later, and we're up over 10 million jobs. But it really is across all.
Do we know why?
Did the pandemic cause this? What happened?
The short answer is nobody wants to go to work, I guess. I don't know. They're living off savings. But there's a number of reasons. People have figured out that they like to work independently, I guess maybe is the way to say it. Like in that non-traditional, non-work structured environment. Like we talked about like the gig economy before. It's definitely that where people come in, make some money for a while, step out. They've done their gig and now they're going to go in. And that's really what's a lot of that goes on. They also are very much into like work-life. A lot of people like work-life balance.
Yeah.
Like when I was and this is really true with the young generation right now, younger generation. When I was young, that was not a phrase we ever used, work-life balance. It was just work and no life balance is really what it was.
Right.
So the whole thing's kind of shifted. And of course, working remotely, is another reason they're being way more selective about their jobs, and they're staying out until they get what they want with a higher wage. Yeah. So
what can employers do when they have an attractive candidate to make sure that they check all those boxes?
Well, employers today, the big thing is that we're encouraging people you just got to think differently today. As a business owner, this is not the same group of employees. It might be the same faces actually, but the mindset has really shifted from 2 years ago. And so today we encourage employers to think way differently about that same employee that you could have hired a few years ago just in the traditional structure. Got to think differently about it. So some things that employers can do is, I've seen a lot of this actually in just the articles that we read and keep up on is removing degree requirements. It used to be, like when I entered the workforce, at a certain level you just needed a degree. Even if you didn't really need it, they wanted you to have it, right? So, okay, fine. Not true anymore. Employers should really reconsider, do they really need to have a degreed candidate to get that job? And instead, they should be looking for maybe people who have the right skill set. It's not even based on how many years you've been working. Like, does that employee have the right skill set to do what you want them to do?
Yeah. So you don't see as many bachelor's degree and 5 to 7 years experience required on a lot of the job openings.
I would
anymore.
say if you can put that and fill it, you do it. But that's a tough one to fill. And really it comes down to the kind of job that you might be doing, that the employer has. Sometimes they need degrees, to do that particular job. And the other thing that's important for I think employers to remember is that there's some real hurdles for people to get over, especially if you're a single parent with kids. If your child gets sick, what are you going to do? Or if you have to work late, what are you going to do with your child? So, when we talk with employers, we encourage them, think about child care options that you can help take care of. you got to be pretty creative to do that.
Yeah.
Transportation is another one.
Yeah.
We have an employer who actually, that we work with, who brings a shuttle bus back and forth from Jackson to their location. We got a couple employers that do that. I mean, that's thinking pretty creatively out of the box to attract that group of people. So
Interesting. Manufacturing, topic on today's show even.
Yeah.
Do we have enough people, let's just say in the state, that have manufacturing experience?
Yeah. No. How else can I say just no, we don't.
Hard no.
Hard no, yeah. One of the facts that we uncovered, which was really interesting, and I'm just going to reference my notes here to make sure I get it right. So, if you took all the unemployed manufacturing workers in the U.S., all that whole group of unemployed workers, and you filled every available, as much as you could, you filled every available opening in manufacturing in the U.S., you'd still have a third, 35% or so, unfilled manufacturing jobs in the U.S. A third.
And you've had retirements, you've had people have higher wages, earlier retirements, people just leaving the workforce. How can this right itself?
Well, some of the things that we're encouraging employers to think about, like rethink about maybe rehiring people back in that you previously would not have considered. They're called like second hires. Like they left for whatever the reason, maybe there was an issue with their employment. If it was a few years ago, maybe reconsider them, especially if they have the skill set you need. Bring them back into the workforce and put them to work and that sort of stuff. So if you've been to any restaurants recently, and I know we were just talking about one, you're feeling the impact as a consumer of the lack of those hires. And restaurants in Jackson, I think by and large, do a great job of providing services, but they're still feeling the toughness of people in the kitchen, waiters and wait staff and whatnot. So
customers, be patient.
Yeah, I think people for the most part are doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I was at a situation the other day, and we were all patient for the whole 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine.
You waited 45 minutes, bless your heart.
Yeah. Well, it's entertaining to see what was going on back there.
I won't ask where you guys were clearly out of town eating at an out of town restaurant.
Yeah.
So. Yes, it was out of town.
Yeah, way out of town.
Well, anyways, I think we're all experiencing that as consumers, but certainly as business owners, you see for hire signs everywhere. But there are some things, like I said, that employers can do and business owners can do to help mitigate that and push it back down. So always gain a lot of knowledge from your business, Jim. Appreciate it. Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
U.S. Staffing Agency's Jim Dolson on The Morning Show. We'll be right back after this quick break.